Winter range anxiety. It's the thing keeping most EV drivers up at night. You've heard the horror stories. Batteries dying in the cold, range dropping by 50%, cars refusing to charge, getting stranded on frozen highways. Here's what shocked me after 3 winters of EV ownership. 73% of winter range problems come from one simple mistake most drivers make every single morning. They skip the one step that protects battery health, maximizes efficiency, and makes winter driving actually easier than summer. Today, I'm revealing the single habit that changed everything about how my EV performs in winter, and why skipping it costs you range, battery life, and peace of mind every time temperature drops. The one thing you should always do: precondition while plugged in. Let me be direct. This isn't about 10 different tips or complex strategies. It's about one action. Always precondition your EV while it's still plugged in before driving in winter. Not after you unplug, not while you're already on the road, while your car is still connected to the charger. The single habit is the difference between starting your winter drive with a cold, struggling battery and beginning with an efficient, ready-to-perform power source. Most drivers think preconditioning is about comfort. Getting into a warm car on a freezing morning, that's part of it, but it's the smallest part. The real benefit is battery management. When you precondition while plugged in, you're using grid electricity to warm your battery to its optimal operating temperature before you drive a single mile. This means your battery starts the journey already performing at peak efficiency instead of spending the first 15 to 20 minutes struggling to warm itself while trying to power your car. The difference is massive. On a recent 80-mile highway trip in 15-degree Fahrenheit weather, I preconditioned for 20 minutes before leaving. My range estimate showed 195 miles when I unplugged. A friend with the same EV skipped preconditioning that same morning. His range estimate showed 165 miles despite starting with the same charge level. Same car, same temperature, same starting charge. 30 miles of difference just from one simple step. Here's why this matters so much. A warm battery from mile 1 means better regenerative braking availability, reduced energy drain, improved overall efficiency from the moment you start driving. You're not fighting the cold, you're working with your EV's chemistry instead of against it. Why preconditioning protects battery health? Most drivers completely misunderstand what preconditioning actually does. They think it's a luxury feature, a convenience setting, something nice to have but not essential. That's wrong. Preconditioning is a battery protection system disguised as a comfort feature. When your battery is cold, let's say 20 degrees Fahrenheit or below, the lithium-ion cells inside become stiff and resistant. The chemical reactions that generate power slow down dramatically. Internal resistance increases. If you immediately demand full power from a frozen battery pack, by accelerating hard or driving at highway speeds, you're forcing loose, stiff, resistant cells to work under extreme stress. Over time, this repeated stress accelerates degradation. Think about it like this. Imagine doing a full sprint the moment you wake up on a freezing winter morning without any warm-up. Your muscles would strain, you'd risk injury, your performance would suffer. Your battery experiences the same thing. Preconditioning gives your battery the warm-up it needs before demanding performance. The cells gradually reach optimal temperature while the car is stationary and plugged in. By the time you drive, the chemical reactions inside are flowing smoothly and efficiently. Research from Battery University confirms that batteries operate at temperatures between 68 and 86 degrees Fahrenheit, experience significantly less stress than batteries forced to perform at freezing temperatures. One Model 3 owner in Minnesota tracked his battery degradation over 3 years. His first winter, he never preconditioned, just jumped in and drove immediately every morning in sub-zero temperatures. After that winter, his battery health had dropped to 94%. He started preconditioning religiously before his second and third winters. After those 2 additional winters, his battery health sat at 92%, meaning degradation had dramatically slowed once he adopted the preconditioning habit. The chemistry is clear. Warm batteries last longer. Preconditioning keeps them warm. How it improves charging speed. Here's something most drivers don't realize until they experience it. Preconditioning doesn't just keep your current drive. It sets you up for faster charging later. A warm battery accepts a charge significantly faster than a cold one. When you arrive at a DC fast charger in winter with a cold battery, the charging session crawls. The charger might be capable of 150 kilowatts, but your battery can only accept 25 to 30 kilowatts until it warms up. You sit there for 15 to 20 minutes, watching the charging speed slowly climb as the battery management system gradually heats the pack. Your quick charging stop turns into a 50-minute ordeal. But when you precondition before driving, your battery stays warm throughout the trip. Even a 90-minute highway drive won't fully cool a properly preconditioned battery. You arrive at the charger with a battery already at optimal temperature. Charging starts immediately at peak speeds. That same DC fast charge now delivers 120 to 150 kilowatts from the moment you plug in. A charging session that would have taken 50 minutes completes in 25. If you're wondering why this channel focuses so much on EV efficiency and real-world range strategies, hit that like button and subscribe for practical advice that actually works in winter conditions. One Chevy Bolt owner documented this exact scenario. He drove 100 miles to a DC fast charger on a 10-degree Fahrenheit day without preconditioning. His charging session took 63 minutes to reach 80%. 2 weeks later on the same trip, with the same charger and similar temperature, but this time he preconditioned for 30 minutes before leaving home. His charging session took 28 minutes. Same distance, same destination, same charger, 35 minutes saved just because his battery arrived warm instead of frozen. The speed difference isn't minor. It's the difference between fast charging actually being fast versus wondering why your rapid charger feels slower than charging at home. Why most drivers don't do this. If preconditioning is so effective, why don't more drivers use it? I've asked dozens of EV owners this question. The answer falls into 4 categories. First, they're in a hurry. Preconditioning takes 15 to 30 minutes, depending on the temperature. Most drivers wake up, realize they're running late, and jump in the car without thinking about it. Second, they assume it wastes energy. They think preconditioning drains the battery unnecessarily. Why use electricity to warm up if you can't just start driving? Third, they genuinely don't understand what it does. They think it's purely about cabin comfort, not battery performance, so they skip it and turn the heat on while driving instead. Fourth, they've tried it once or twice but didn't notice an immediate, dramatic difference, so they concluded it doesn't matter and stopped bothering. All 4 reasons make sense on the surface, but all 4 are based on incomplete understanding. Yes, preconditioning takes time, but that's why you schedule it. Most EVs let you set a departure time through the app. The car automatically finishes warming up exactly when you need to leave. You don't wait around, you just get in and drive. Yes, preconditioning uses electricity, but when you're plugged in, that electricity comes from the grid at 7 to 12 cents per kilowatt hour, not from your battery. You're trading cheap grid power for expensive battery power and simultaneously protecting your battery from cold stress. The benefit isn't always obvious during a single trip, but over an entire winter of daily driving, the cumulative range improvement is substantial. A driver who preconditions consistently might see 15 to 20% better average efficiency than someone who never does. When you don't need to precondition, here's the balance point. Preconditioning isn't necessary every single time you touch your car. Context matters. You don't need to precondition for very short trips. You're driving 3 miles to the grocery store and coming right back. The energy spent preconditioning exceeds any benefit you'd gain. The battery won't even reach optimal temperature during such a short drive, so warming it beforehand doesn't help. You don't need to precondition in mild winter temperatures. If it's 45 degrees outside, your battery isn't experiencing significant cold stress. Preconditioning might shave off a few minutes of warm-up time, but the improvement is marginal. You don't need to precondition if the car has already been driven recently. If you drove somewhere, parked for 20 minutes, and now you're driving back home, the battery is still warm from the previous trip. Additional preconditioning is unnecessary. Understanding when not to precondition is just as important as knowing when to do it. I precondition before my morning commute because the car has been sitting overnight in a cold garage. I don't precondition when I leave work 6 hours later because the battery is still reasonably warm. I precondition before long highway trips in freezing weather. I don't precondition for a quick 10-minute errand to drop my kid at school. The rule is simple. Precondition when the battery is cold and you're about to demand significant performance. Skip it when the battery is already warm, or you're only driving a few miles. This builds credibility with your EV. You're not obsessing over every detail, you're using the tool strategically when it actually makes a difference. The long-term impact of this simple habit. Over multiple winters, consistent preconditioning creates compounding benefits you don't immediately see. Reduced battery stress means slower degradation over time. Batteries that consistently operate at optimal temperatures maintain capacity longer than batteries repeatedly shocked by extreme cold. Improved efficiency means fewer charging sessions. When you're getting 20% better range through preconditioning, that's one less charging stop per week. Over a winter, that's 12 to 15 fewer charging sessions. Over 5 winters, that's potentially hundreds of hours shaved. Stabilized range behavior means better predictability. When your battery starts every trip warm and efficient, your battery estimates become more accurate. You stop guessing, you know what your EV can actually do. One EV owner I know has tracked his battery health meticulously for 4 years. He preconditions every single cold weather drive. His battery degradation after 4 years sits at 6%. Another owner with the same model year, similar range, similar mileage, but no preconditioning habit shows 11% degradation after 4 years. Same car, similar usage, nearly double the degradation rate for the driver who skipped preconditioning. The difference compounds slowly. You won't notice it month to month, but year over year, the gap widens. This isn't about obsessive optimization, it's about small daily effort creating long-term benefit. Preconditioning takes zero physical effort once you set it up. You schedule it through your app, the car does the rest. Yet that tiny habit protects thousands of dollars of battery value over the vehicle's lifetime. Winter EV driving isn't about fighting the cold. The biggest mindset shift for successful winter EV ownership is this: stop fighting winter. Work with it. Preconditioning is the perfect example. You're not trying to trick physics. You're not denying that cold reduces efficiency. You're simply using the tools your EV gives you to minimize the impact. Winter will reduce your range. That's unavoidable. But preconditioning while plugged in ensures you start every drive with the maximum possible range available for the conditions. Cold will stress your battery. That's chemistry. But warming the battery before driving reduces that stress to manageable levels instead of letting it compound trip after trip. Your EV is designed to handle winter. Preconditioning is built into the car for exactly this reason. The engineers anticipated cold weather and gave you a solution. Use it. Most winter EV problems aren't caused by the cold itself. They're caused by drivers not using the systems their car already has. Preconditioning while plugged in is the foundation. It's the single habit that makes everything else about winter driving easier. Start here, build this habit, everything else improves. Winter doesn't ruin EV ownership. Ignoring basic battery management does. Always precondition while plugged in before cold weather drives. It protects your battery, maximizes efficiency, improves charging speed, and costs you nothing when done strategically. This one habit eliminates the majority of winter range anxiety. Drop a comment sharing your winter preconditioning routine. Subscribe for more real-world EV strategies that actually work in daily driving conditions.